Now, in the orthodontic department, what we do, we like to have a centric relation record as opposed to a centric occlusion record. We can always interdigitate the models into a maximum interface position, but we really want to know where we're starting from, and having a centric relation record is important to us. So I will now show you, I'll demonstrate to you the way we like to do this. Okay, so as far as materials, a piece of base plate wax. The wax that you have at the hospital is a red base plate wax. Right. And then we have to have a buffalo knife and a board on which to cut the wax. Heat the wax, and then cut a section of it that will approximate the arch form of the model of the impression that we have in front of us. So as you can see, I'm putting this on top of the impression. That gives us an idea of just how big this wax has to be. Now I'm going to be able to cut this back around here to this length, reintroduce it like that. Now that fits on quite nicely into the arch. Now, one of the things which I find is a helpful thing to do is to help with promoting of the seating of the condyles is to take the anterior portion of the wax and fold it back. I'll show you that in a sec. So the wax, it's nice and warm now. So we fold this back once, twice, and then if you look at this from the side, you can see that there's a triple thickness of wax in the anterior area. We put it back on here to see how that looks. It's a bit wide. So now we will heat it again. Okay, Thomas, I want you just to take it really easy now. I'm going to put this piece of wax on your upper teeth. Okay. So we then introduce the wax onto the upper arch, covering the anterior teeth just minimally, as you can see, this way. And I fold the wax onto the upper arch so that we can really see well. And then I say to him very, very gently, now that you're tired, just relax and close your back teeth together very gently. And squeeze just a little bit, squeeze a bit more, and that's it. Just stay right there. Okay? Now, what you can see is, squeeze just a tiny bit more again, buddy. Squeeze a bit more, a bit more, a bit more. Perfect. That's nice. Okay? Now, open and close. Just tap a couple of times. Tap your back teeth together. Tap. Open, please. Open really wide. Now we'll take this to the sink. Chill it this time. Okay? And coming over here again, you can see that we have it's hard to see that very well, but we have a slight interdigitation of the teeth into the wax. So, and he has not bitten through the wax completely, because when the minute he bites through the wax, he will deflect his condyles or his mandible, and then we'll have an acquired occlusion. And similarly, you can see that if you're looking at it from here, that by having the greater thickness of wax, the greater thickness of wax will tend to separate the anterior teeth and let the condyles seat themselves into the most stable position. So after that's been chilled, we go back gently and tap a couple of times again, bang, 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 bang. So now we feel that we have into a very nice solid centric position. Tap again. Good boy. Thank you. Okay, open please. Thank you, Thomas. So then, coming back one final time, which is a very important consideration, is that when the models have then been poured and you introduce the wax for trimming, that the wax does not extend distal to the last tooth. So that when you are pouring, you are not being interfered with by any kind of soft tissue interference of the wax and the soft tissues in the retromolar area. So I guess that's our demonstration. I feel that impression making and wax bite construction is a very important part of our diagnostic preparation, you'll find that by being relaxed with it, following this outline, you'll find that taking impressions should be very straightforward for you. Thank you. Get some water. I will also say now we've gone to the laboratory, and the time is to to pour the models from the impressions that we took a few minutes ago. So what we need to have is these are
pouring tray.
Pouring trays, and we need to have a spatula. We need to have water at room temperature and plaster measured to according to the manufacturer's instructions. All manufacturers have slightly different instructions. So you must make sure that you use the proper manufacturer's instructions. Then what we do is we add our the given amount of plaster to the mixing bowl. We add our water. Begin to spatulate. And then if you're lucky enough to have a mixing automatic mixer, as we do, then we introduce the slightly mixed material and mix it with our automatic mixing machine. Very good. Hey Quint, this is our favorite one.
Okay.
Now, then, I didn't mention this before, but we need to have our vibrator take. We begin at one end and we allow the material to flow from tooth to tooth, from one side to the other, pouring so that all the air and water it precedes the plaster. Now, if we've made our impression properly, then, and I'll show you this in a second, when we pour when we invert the impression tray into the receptacle, I can't remember the word, then what we do is we put it on so it's level, and when the time comes to trim the model, there is very little trimming to do on an angular basis because it's fitting in just like that. So you can see that the tray is quite level in the receptacle. What we will do is we will build up the posteriors, the retromolar area on either side. And we want to make sure that we don't have too much of the plaster fitting up into the area which would be occupied by the tongue. So that's it for that, and then we'll do exactly the same thing on the upper. And then after the material is set completely, we will begin to trim the models in the fashion that you will be prescribed in your lecture on pouring and trimming models.